Hello everyone and welcome to another random bits and pieces segment from my brain, and today, sit a while, for we are playing some more Franchise Hockey Manager 6 as part of a struggling Ottawa Senators team. Something we haven't seen much for the past little while there. So the first thing that I did prior to shooting the video is I went and checked to see what's available on the trading block, because I might need some help. Maybe it's a little early to panic, but I'm not liking my record right now. Definitely feel like I should be higher than 11th in the East, although it's not the first time that I have struggled in October, and then in the past I've been able to kind of right the ship. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and see. Now, on the trading block, it was bad. Now, the only player that is somewhat a little bit maybe interesting is Saku Koivu, but he's only a 2-star player now, and he's getting older and everything, so I'm not going to trade for him. So I went internally, and I noticed that Patrick Eves doesn't have the unfit label anymore, so it looks like he's been working his ass off in minors. So I decided to call him back up, and I sent Jacob Klippisch back down. So we're gonna go ahead and see what happens. So Patrick Eves back up. Hopefully he can help. He's more of a defensive player in this save for whatever reason. So we'll see what happens here. So, with that being said, the first game of November is right now, and it's at home against the Atlanta Thrashers. Now, the Thrashers are 7-5. They are better than us this year, at least so far. And we are 0-1 against Atlanta. We did lose 5-2 in Atlanta earlier this season. So hopefully we are going to start the month with a win on the right track here. So the Thrashers are going to send Kari Lehtonen in net, and we are going to go with Ryan Miller. Aye. So we lost again, this time 3-2. At this point, it might be Lindy Ruff the problem. I don't know. Alright, so we outshot Atlanta 34-23 in that game. Ilya Kovalchuk was the first star. He had 2 goals and an assist. Jason Spezza was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Dennis Seidenberg was the third star with an assist as well. We had 16,545 people in attendance for that game. Atlanta scored twice in the first period. Actually, it was Kovalchuk both times. So Atlanta was up 2-0 after 1. Then we tied the game up in the second period, so Joe Thornton scored from Jason Spezza, and then Jason Spezza from Pavel Datsyuk and Joe Thornton. It was 2-2 after 2. But then Brian Little scored on the power play a little late in the third period, made it 3-2, and that was the final score. So Joe Thornton extends his point streak to 13 games. With that goal and assist, and that was 11 straight games with an assist for him. So Joe Thornton is doing really well, but the rest of the team is not. Alright, so in a couple days we're gonna play the Boston Bruins, and it's gonna be a home and home against the Bruins. Ooh, look at that. Suspension for Sidney Crosby. So Crosby is suspended. He's going to miss 6 games. Wow. Alright, so Eugene Melnyk is only happy after, 6 straight Stanley Cups. 1 bad month, and he goes from very happy to just happy. So we went 4-7. Yeah, Marian also needs to come back soon. Right, there was no stopping Christian Uzelius, who had 4 goals and an assist against Buffalo. Pretty good game. Nicholas Backstrom had a strong game as well. He had 4 assists against the Flyers. Right, so we are about to play the Bruins. We're going to play them for the first time this season. We have not played them yet. So Boston is 9-2 this season. They are doing really good, and believe it or not, 9-2 is not even good for first in our division. So we're going to take a look at their lineup here. Alright, so Maria McKee still hurt from making renovations. And then Kostov is hurt, may or may not play. I guess they're going to decide that right before the game. And they look, yeah, Boston has a pretty well-rounded team. Not a whole lot of superstar power, although a little bit, but pretty well-rounded. Not a lot of weaknesses on that team, which is probably why they have the record they do. So Yevgeny Nabokov and Tomas Vokoun in net. That's been the tandem there for a while now. John Michael Lyles, Sandis Ozolinsh, Kostov, Mark Stewart, Craig Rivet, André Benoit, who played a little bit for Ottawa in real life, and David Tanabe are on D. Chris Neal, oh, that hurts. Chris Neal in Boston. Actually, didn't I trade him there? Yeah, I think I did, huh? Yes, I did. It was my own doing. So Chris Neal. Chris Neal is a Boston Bruin. Varlamov, Murray, Modine, Eloranta, Nate Thompson, Josef Stompel, Petrus Bergeron, Olli Jokinen, Phil Kessel, Krejci, Glenn Murray, and Sushinsky. Yeah, pretty decent team. They definitely can beat us with, you know, how we've been playing this year so far. They definitely can. So it's going to be Yevgeny Nabokov in net for the Bruins. We are going to Ryan Miller. And we lost 1-0 in overtime. We couldn't even score a goal. So we outshot Boston 46-16. Yevgeny Nabokov was the first star of the game with 46 saves and a shutout. Mark Streit was the second star, of course not getting any points. And Petrus Bergeron was the third star without getting any points. That game was won in a shootout. 16,294 people in attendance for this game. Oh god. So yeah, so Spezza missed, Krejci scored, Datsuk missed, Kessel scored. That was it. Joe Thornton's point streak ended at 13 games. And SS streak ended at 11. Of course, we didn't score a goal, so he didn't get any points or anything. Alexei Kigorodov is more comfortable playing on right wing now. Right, and now the second of the back-to-back is going to be in Boston. Mike Krejci is available on waivers, and so is Eric Westrom. Whew, my apologies. That was a pretty powerful sneeze. So Saku Koivu is back from suspension in Montreal, so back in the lineup. And so now we're going to be playing in Boston. Of course, now Boston is 10-2. They just won against us. Let's see if we can turn the tables playing on the road. We're going back to Ryan Miller. They're going to Tomas Vokoun. And we finally won a game. We won this one 3-1. We will take it. So we outshot the Bruins 36-20 in that game. Tim Gleason was the first star. He had an assist. John Michael Lyles was the second star with an assist as well. And Michael Ryder was the third star with a goal. Alright, so we open up the scoring in the first period. So we had Ryan Cannon score from Mike Fisher and Zdeno Chara, then Patrick Eves from Patrick Eliash. It was 2-0 Sens after one. Then in the second period, Boston cut our lead in half with a goal, but then shortly after, Michael Ryder scored from Martin Havlat and Tim Gleason, and it was 3-1 Sens. Nobody scored in the third period, which means that 3-1 was the final score. Pavel Datsyuk is injured and he is day-to-day with a bruised cheekbone, like I needed that. Alright. Marianosa should be back soon. Good, we need him. And we are about to... Oh, that's going to be a long home stand there. We're going to play 4 straight games at home. No one could stop Matt Moulson, who plays in Florida in my universe. He had a hat-trick against the Lightning. Yevgeny Malkin extends his assist streak to 8 games with 2 goals and 3 assists against the Devils. Yaroslav Modry has a good game playing for the Flyers. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Rangers. Alright, and we are about to play against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So Toronto right now is 11-4. That's good for first in the East. That's usually our spot. Now Toronto is there. Sens fans are not gonna be too happy about that. We are 1-1 against Toronto this year. We definitely need to start winning some games here. So Toronto's going to go with Jean-Sébastien Giguère, and we are going with Brian Elliott. And we lost 2-1. We have problems scoring goals. We get the shots on goal, no problem, usually, but we cannot score. So we outshot Toronto 28-20 in this game. Travis Zajac was the first star with a goal and an assist. Mark Streit was the second star with an assist. And René Bourque was the third star with a goal. 17,148 people in attendance for this game. So Brooks Lake opened up the scoring in the first period from Patrick Elias and Mark Streit, and it was 1-0 Sens after 1, and it looked pretty good most of the game. But in the third period, René Bourque tied the game, and then late in the third period, Zajac scored to give Toronto a 1-goal lead, and we could never tie the game up. So there was a fight also in the third period. Callahan and Aucoin got into a scrap together. Ooh, Michael Ryder is suspended. He's going to miss 5 games. That's not good. Alright, we need fresh bodies to come back here. Alright, so in a couple days we're going to play against the Capitals. Randy Jones available. Marianosa bordering on returning. Yes, please. We need you. Patrick Marleau keeps fans on their feet all night. Not with his cooking abilities for sure. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals against Boston. Richie Regier suspended in Philadelphia. He's going to miss 2 games. Yevgeny Malkin's assist streak ended at 8 games. No points against the Flyers. And Pavel Datsyuk might be back soon. Oh yay, he might play tonight. Alright, so we are about to play the Caps. Washington is 9-4-2, so that's pretty good. That's good for 6th in the East. We have not played them so far this year. Let's take a look. No injuries in Washington. Pretty healthy lineup. So they have Olaf Kozig and Tuukka Rask in net. That's pretty solid right there. Carl Osner, Marty Järventie, Per Gustafsson, Nathan Page, Mike Green, Sean Hill, Ryan Whitney on D. I think we played the Caps in preseason. I remember their lineup. Alex Burrows, Brunette, Mattis, Pettinger, Ovechkin, Backstrom, Gordon, Paul, Sotheby, Bernier, Bourque, Dwyer, Simon, and Alpern. That's a pretty good team. The D's maybe a little weak, but the rest of the team is pretty good. Alright, so Tuukka Rask in net for Washington, Ryan Miller in net for the Suns. And we won 2-0. Thank you. Good game. We outshot the Caps 43-19 in that one. Tuukka Rask was the first star despite getting the loss with 41 saves. Alex Simon was the second star despite not getting any points, and Mike Fisher was the third star with a goal. 15,752 people in attendance for this game in Ottawa. And there were only 2 goals scored, and they were scored in the second period. So Jason Spezza scored from Pavel Datsyuk and Petr Kaliash, and then Mike Fisher scored his first from Ryan Callahan and Brooks Lake, and 2-0 was the final score. Alright, and Marianosa is ready, thank you. I guess I'm going to send down Alexei Kegorodov. He hasn't done much of anything. Alright, so Osa is back right on time for this rivalry game against the Montreal Canadiens. So Montreal is now 9-6. Excuse me. Whew, my apologies. My voice just decided to start leaving my body. It's kind of scary when that happens. Maybe not scary, but it's a little weird. Alright, so as I was saying, the Montreal Canadiens are 9-6 this season, and that's good for 8 in the East. We are 0-1 against Montreal. We did lose 2-1 against them earlier this season. Of course, I am not too happy with that, so I want to win now. So it's going to be Carey Price in net for Montreal, and Ryan Miller is going to be in net for us. And we lost 2-0. Another game where we couldn't score. We also were outshot 31-22. What's going on? It has to be the coach at this point. Maybe I shouldn't have let Alain Vigneault go. So, yep, Andrei Markov was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Joe Thornton was the second star despite not getting any points. And Saku Koivu was the third star with a goal and an assist. 18,792 people in attendance for this game in Ottawa. And all of the scoring happened in the first period. Markov and Koivu with the goals. And we lost. Chris Kelly fought Steve Ott. Wow, we are struggling. Oh, great. Marianosa came back for one game and now he's hurt again. Now, till he can play. I don't know what I'm gonna do. We are struggling mightily. Yes, I know that Marianosa is hurt, but he can play, so leave me alone. We need him in the lineup. Timo Elbling is available. Richie Regier is back from suspension in Philadelphia. Nikolai Abibulin played in 800 games in his career, still in Phoenix. And he got a win to celebrate that against the Sharks. And in that same game, Teppo Numminen reached 500 assists for his career with an assist. So that's pretty good. 39 years old, Teppo Numminen, 2-star player. So, Pavel Datsyuk might be back soon. Alright, so we have a few days before we play against Buffalo, so those injured players are gonna get to start to feel a little bit better. Aaron Rome is available. I am not going to pick him up. He was in our system very briefly. Nathan Horton is suspended in Florida. He's going to miss 4 games. Oh. Martin Brodeur is ailing with a bruised forehead. What happened there? So it should only be a day-to-day injury, probably. Sidney Crosby is back in the lineup after serving his suspension. Alright, so Pavel Datsyuk is completely healed. Now I need for him to open the machine here. Him and Spezza, I need for them to start scoring goals. Mike Camilleri has a strong game. 3 goals and an assist for Camilleri against the Ducks. Pretty good game. Philip Novak available. And Brendan Morrow has a strong game. He had 4 assists against the Sharks. Alright, so we are about to play the Buffalo Sabres for the first time this season. Buffalo is 10-5-1, so they are doing pretty good. That's good for 8 in the East. So we have not played them so far this year. Ooh, they have a few long-term injuries there. So Radek Martinek is out for a few months. Eric Weinrich is out for a few months. And Jason Pominville is out for a few months. So despite all of that, they still have a pretty decent record. Oops. And then Thomas Vanek is also hurt and not going to play in this game. So in net, it's going to be Martin Biron and Tim Thomas. Then Philippe Boucher, Joe Corvo, Andres Sekera, Vasiliev, Campbell, Butler, Rosseville, Oduya, and Dietz. It is what it is. Patrick Marleau, Kirka, MacArthur, Jared Smithson, Drew Stafford, Mike Knuble, Derek Roy, Tommy Santella, Connor Moen, Payet, Upshot, and Vanek. Usually I would say we can beat this team, but this season I'm not sure. Ryan Miller is in net for us, Tim Thomas in net for Buffalo. And we won this game 3-0. Alright, another shutout. That's good. We outshot Buffalo 49-12. Pavel Datsyuk was the first star. He had a goal. Mike Fisher, the second star, with a goal as well. And Joe Thornton was the third star with an assist. 16,556 people in attendance for this game. Alright, so Mike Fisher opened up the scoring in the first period from Martin Avlat and Alexander Radulov. Then Patrick Eves from Patrick Eliash and Anton Volchenkov. It was 2-0 Sens after 1. And then in the second period, Pavel Datsyuk scored from Jason Spezza and Joe Thornton. 3-0 was the final score. Very few penalties in this game. Buffalo took 2 minors and that's it. Alright, so great night for Alexander Semin, who had a hat-trick against Florida. Paul Carrier has played in 1,000 games. No points against LA. 33 years old. Paul Carrier, 2.5-star players. So suspension for Jarkko Immonen in Nashville. He's going to miss a game. And strong night for Jeff Carter in Philly, who had 3 goals and an assist against the Rangers. Alright, Randy Jones is once again available on waivers. Danny Eatley extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and an assist against Colorado. Brian Rolston has played in 1,000 games pretty quietly. We haven't seen his name all that often. 34-year-old Brian Rolston, 2.5-star player, celebrated with a goal against the Islanders. Alright, we are about to play against the Leafs again, so now the Leafs are 13-5-2, and that's still good for first in the East. We are 1-2 against the Leafs. We need a win. Ryan Miller against Giguère. Another win, 2-1. We're not scoring many goals, but at least now we got 2 W's in a row. Toronto actually outshot us in that game 36-34. Jason Spezza was the first star. He had 2 assists. Adam Hall was the second star with a goal, and Joe Thornton was the third star. He scored both of our goals. So the game was in Toronto, and Thornton scored both of his goals in the first period. Wow. 48 seconds apart. So first one was from Mark Streit and Jason Spezza, and then Thornton again from Spezza and Datsuk, and it was 2-0 Sens after one. Then we have to wait all the way to the third period to see Toronto score. Made it 2-1, but it was too little too late. And Adrian Aucoin likes to fight when he plays against us. This time he fought against Brooks Like. Alright, so Sergei Samsonov got suspended in Florida. He's going to miss a game. Oh, Henrik Zetterberg is injured in Detroit. He's going to miss 4 months. Wow. Torn calf muscle. That's going to hurt the Wings for sure. Although they had a pretty good record there. Jarkko Immonen is back from suspension in Nashville. Viktor Kozlov has reached 600 points in his career with an assist against the Ducks. 32 years old, Viktor Kozlov, playing for San Jose, still a 2.5-star player. Alright, and we're about to play the Canadiens in Montreal. Montreal is 13-6. That's good for 4th in the East. And of course, we are 0-2 against Montreal this year. Both losses at home. So hopefully, playing them on the road is going to yield different results. So Ryan Miller in net again. Carey Price in net. So he shut us out last time he played us. So hopefully we can beat him this time. Oh, we did. 1-0 win in overtime. And it was in the shootout. So that's a shutout for both Ryan Miller and Carey Price. So we outshot Montreal 32-19 in that one. Patrick Eves, first star, no points. Thomas Plekanec, second star, no points. Joe Thornton, third star, no points. Lots of penalties, but no fighting. Alright, so Ribeiro missed, also missed. Louis Eriksson missed. We scored. Pitkanen scored. And then Datsuk scored. And that was it. We won. Tim Gleason converts to left defense. Good. That's probably where he should be anyway. And Michael Ryder is back from suspension. Now, in a couple days, we're going to be playing in Buffalo against the Sabres. Ooh, quite a few news here. Danny Eatley extends his goal streak to 6 games with a goal and an assist against the Kings. Jarno Kultanen in St. Louis is suspended. He's going to miss 4 games. Nathan Horton is back from suspension in Florida, as is Sergei Samsonov. Right, and Osa might be healed here pretty soon. And Osa is completely recovered. Thank you. Alright, let's see if he can play an entire game without getting hurt. God, his injury rating in this save must be terrible. He's hurt all the time. Or it's the game punishing me for saying out loud that I am never going to trade Mariano and that he's going to stay as Sens for life. Alright, so about to play the Sabres again. We just played them not too long ago. They are 10-7-1. So Buffalo is 9th in the East with that record. So we are 1-0 against Buffalo. We did shut them out 3-0. Alright, so Ryan Miller in net for us. Tim Thomas in net for Buffalo. And we won 6-2. Alright, we finally have a winning record here. Took a while. Alright, we outshot Buffalo 39-23. Pavel Datsyuk was the first star of the game with a goal and 2 assists. Anton Volchenkov was the second star with an assist. And Brooks Lake was the third star with a goal. It's one of my favorite songs playing, so I don't know if I've mentioned that in the past, but you know, when I record, since the game has no sound, I listen to music in the back end, and it's, of course, I don't put it on the stream, but it's one of my favorite songs playing right now. So maybe that's why we're winning. Maybe it's good karma. So, Alright, so we open up the scoring in the first. We had Datsyuk score on the power play from Mark Streit and Joe Thornton. Then Chris Kelly on the power play as well from Joe Thornton. Then Brooks Lake scored short-handed from Sheldon Surrey, and it was 3-0 Sens at that point. Then Buffalo scored a goal, made it 3-1 after 1. Then in the second period, Jason Spezza scored from Pavel Datsyuk, and then Spezza again on the power play from Michael Ryder and Pavel Datsyuk, 5-1 Sens after 2. Mike Weber and Zdeno Chara fought in the second, and then we went into the third period. Joe Corvo scored, made it 5-2, but Patrick Eves scored from Volchenkov and Jordan Leopold. 6-2 was the final score. Adam Denmarsh has been put on waivers. Former Ottawa Senator Adam Denmarsh. Nick Lidstrom has produced 300 goals in his career with a goal and an assist against St. Louis. So 37 years old, Nick Lidstrom, still a 4-star player. Steve Konowalchuk got suspended with the Kings. He is going to miss 3 games. A night to remember for Mike Green with the Caps. He had a hat-trick against Atlanta. Memorable game for Jeff Alpern, who had a hat-trick as well in that same game. That was a lot of lots of goals. And of course, Mark Streit got hurt, so he is day-to-day with a bruised back. And we are about to play the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're back at home for a couple games, so there's 4 more games left in November here. Pittsburgh is 14-6-1. That's good for 2nd in the East. They are top of their division. So we haven't played Pittsburgh, so we are looking at their lineup, and no injuries there. So that's a pretty solid lineup for the most part. Fleury and Harding. Thank you for not re-signing the guy whose name I struggle with so much. So that's Josh Harding, I think his name is. Yes, Josh Harding, Marc-Andre Fleury in net, Christian Herhoff, Alex Goligoski, Brett Clark, Curtis Crashtons, Brooks Orpik, Garrett Stafford, Jeff Finger, and Barrett Jackman on D. Not the best D. Competent, but not the best. Goligoski still has got to develop a little bit. Jagger, Bergenheim, Morozov, Trudel, Crosby, Malkin, Stahl, Menard, Jochen Hecht, Christensen, Kennedy, Patrick Sharp, and Ryan Malone. So, yeah, when you have Crosby on the team and Jagger and Malkin, you're doing pretty good. I'm not worried for Pittsburgh. They're going to be in the playoffs for many years to come. Unless they do something really dumb. Alright, so Fleury in net for Pittsburgh. Brian Elliott in net for us. Yeah, I kind of expected a loss against Pittsburgh. We lost 2-1. So not too terrible, I guess. We did outshoot them 45-17. So Goligoski was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Patrick Eves was the second star with a goal. And Fleury was the third star with 44 saves. So the game was in Ottawa. We had 16,053 people in attendance for that game. And all the goals were scored in the first period. Pittsburgh took a 2-0 lead, and then Patrick Eves scored from Patrick Eliash and Chris Kelly, and that was it. Mike Fisher and Jaromir Jagr fought, and then Garrett Stafford and Joe Thornton. Wow. People you don't really expect to see fighting fought. And Mike Fisher is hurt. Why not? Alright, Fisher I'm going to need to send down. He's hurt for 1 to 2 weeks. With wrist soreness. So who do I call back up? I think I'm gonna recall Kigardov. He's been tearing it since he went back down. So let's bring him back up. See if it goes a little bit better for him this time around. Alright, and we are about to play against the Flyers at home. Kent McDonald is suspended in Tampa Bay. He's going to miss 6 games. Mike Komisarek in Philadelphia, right before playing us, got suspended. He's going to miss 3 games, so we're not going to face Mike Komisarek. And Yaroslav Modry played in his 1000th game right before playing against us, and he got an assist to celebrate against the Washington Capitals. 36 years old, Yaroslav Modry, still a 2.5-star player. Alright, so we are about to play the Flyers. They are 13-8 this season. That's good for 8 in the East. We're going to take a look at their lineup since we have not played them. Alright, so no injuries and only Komisarek is suspended. Other than that, that's their best lineup. As usual, in net it's not too great. So they have Duchesne and Brent Johnson in net. Modry, Ragnarsson, Zinger, Regier, Komisarek, Tom Pricing on D. That's a little weak. Mike Richards, Simon Gagner, John Sim, Martin St. Louis, Rod Brennamore, Jeff Carter, Claude Giroux, Johansson, Gostad, Fraser Zubrus, TJ Oshie, Ubasek, Recchi, and Matt Cook. Yeah, that's been like that for a very long time in my save with Philadelphia. They're really loaded up front. I'm almost jealous of their depth up front. That's a very well-rounded team up front. The D and the goaltending is a little suspect. Alright, so Jeremy Duchesne in net for Philadelphia, Ryan Miller in net for us. Alright, we need a win to go back into the over 500 category. And we won 4-3. A little tight, but we won nonetheless. We outshot Philadelphia 35-33 in that one. Jordan Leopold was the first star. He had 2 assists. Jeff Carter was the second star with a goal and 2 assists. And Andre Mazzaros was the third star with a goal. 16,646 people in attendance for this game. Philadelphia opened up the scoring in the first, but then Datsuk scored his fifth on the power play from Jordan Leopold and Patrick Eliash, and then Andre Mazzaro scored from Brooks Like and Jordan Leopold. It was 2-1 Sens after one. Then in the second period, Philadelphia tied the game. And then we took a 3-2 lead with Martin Avlat scoring from Alexander Radulov. Then Philadelphia tied the game again at 3. So it was tied at 3 going into the third period. And then close to the midway mark in the third period, Patrick Eves scored his fifth on the power play from Alexei Kegorodov, who was just freshly recalled. And Patrick Eliash, 4-3 is the final score. And a win that we did need. Right, so Jesse Schultz is available. I'm not going to pick him up. Todd White in Montreal got suspended. He's going to miss 10 games. What the heck did he do, Todd White? I remember Todd White playing for the Sens in real life. He wasn't a very violent player. Ooh. Greg Sherman's job is in jeopardy in Tampa Bay. Wow, I thought we were struggling, but it's nothing compared to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are 3-16-4. Yikes. So the GM might lose his job. Dynamic passing leads to productive night for Zach Parise, who had 4 assists against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Right, and now we have a few days off before we go in Long Island to play the Islanders. Oh, Johan Holmquist is available on waivers. Miroslav Shatan has recorded 600 points with an assist against Columbus. So, almost traded for him. I chose somebody else. I chose Justin Abdelkader instead. Miroslav Shatan, 33 years old, still a 2.5 star player. Nick Backstrom extended his assist streak to 8 games with an assist against Buffalo. Alright, Mark Streit might be back soon. We need him. We need somebody to run that power play. Strong night for Henrik Sedin, who had 4 assists against the Ducks. Now his brother is hurt for a while, if I remember correctly, which I think I do. So we are about to play the Islanders. Ooh, it's pretty tough for the Islanders too. They are 5-11-5. So we have not played the Islanders so far this year. Let's take a look, see why. Oh, they have a lot of injuries. That probably doesn't help. So Chris Campoli is hurt. Dick Tarnstrom is hurt. Vili Peltonen is hurt. And Frans Nielsen is hurt. So yeah, all of those injuries probably don't help very much. So on the roster, yeah, that roster is a little depleted right now, except in net. They're still loaded in net with Roberto Luongo and Rick DiPietro. That's over 10 millions in goaltenders right there. That's a lot of millions, you know, when the cap is, what, like 50 millions? That's, you know, 1/5 of the cap sitting right there, and they're not getting the results. So Caldwell, Andrew Ference, Niskala, Mickey Dupont, Bruno Gervais, Jeff Fahey, Andy, that's terrible. That is not a good D at all. Blake Como, Todd Bertuzzi, Smirnov, Torreson, Sorovi, Grabowski, Robert Nilsson, Todd Marchand, Victor Ubel, Bentivoglio, Dumont, Okposo, Talbot, Palfi, and Veilleux are the forwards. So Victor Ubel continues to play really well. they need that. They really don't have a whole lot going on over there. So Ryan Miller in net for us, Roberto Luongo in net for them. And we won 3-2 on the road. Nice road game. Ooh, back to... It always seems to be against the Islanders that I get those really funky numbers for shots. So we outshot the Islanders 51-7. Pavel Datsyuk was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Todd Bertuzzi was the second star with 2 goals as well. And Joe Thornton was the third star with 2 assists. So we have Pavel Datsyuk that opened up the scoring in the first period from Joe Thornton and Jason Spezza, and then Datsyuk again on the power play from Zdeno Chara. So Chara has slowed down a little bit as well. That doesn't help. There was a fight between Jim Fay and Brooks Laich in the first period. Then the Islanders scored in the second, made it 2-1. Then we traded goals in the third with Ryder scoring on the power play from Joe Thornton and Jason Spezza. And then the Islanders scored to make it to within 1, but they never tied the game. And we won. Kultanen suspension ends in St. Louis, back in the lineup. Suspension over for Mike Komisarek as well, back in the lineup in Philadelphia. Oh, that's where Brian McCabe landed. So Brian McCabe signed in LA, so he's far from us. He's not going to come and hurt us, but he did get suspended and he's going to miss 3 games. Ooh. Yikes. What's going on with Brian McCabe? I promise I didn't cheat. I didn't know that was going to get that bad. So Brian McCabe, who was a pretty steady 40-50 point for us for several years, has 1 point in 23 games for the Kings, and he's already at 159 penalty minutes. Oh boy. Well, looks like we avoided a catastrophe there. Suspension over for Steve Konowalchuk, so they lose Brian McCabe to suspension, and Steve Konowalchuk comes back in the lineup. Nicholas Backstrom extends his assist streak to 9 games with an assist against Florida. And Mark Streit might be back really soon. Alright, so we are already at the last game of the month against the Nashville Predators at home. So Nashville is doing pretty good. They are 16-6. This season. Obviously we have not played them so far this year, so let's take a look at their lineup. Alright, so Vernon Fiddler is hurt, so he's not going to be playing this game, and neither is Ryan Suter, who's also hurt. Alright, so in net it's Picarini and... Who are you? What's your name? I want to know. I want to remember, but I don't. Jeremy Smith. Yeah, I remember his name now. Okay, Picarini, Jeremy Smith in that. Dan Amius, Kevin Klein, Ryan Suter, Lehtonen Weber, Janik Zidlicki, Tom Pody, Ulf Dellen, Scott Hartnell, Nick Spaling, Paulson Legwan, Emanen Straka, Erat Hendricks Arnquist, Schwinard, Santorelli, and Steve Carrier. So it's kind of hit or miss with that team. They have a lot of like 3-star players and then a bunch of half stars and 1-stars. But they have a winning record, so we have to take them seriously, especially since we are definitely not the powerhouse that we used to be. So Picarini is going to be in net for Nashville. We are going to Brian Elliott. And we won 42. Good. We outshot Nashville 33-27 in that game. Michael Ryder was the first star. He had 3 assists. Scott Hartnell was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Chris Kelly was the third star with 2 assists. 16,024 people in attendance for this game. So Scott Hartnell opened up the scoring in the first. It was 1-0 at that point, but then we scored 3 unanswered before the end of the first. So Sheldon Souris scored his first from Michael Ryder and Patrick Eves. Then Spezza scored his 10th on the power play from Michael Ryder and Chris Kelly. Then Alexander Radulov scored on the power play from Jason Spezza and Michael Ryder, and it was 3-1 Sens after 1. Then in the third period, Martin Straka scored, made it 3-2, but then Jason Spezza scored short-handed from Chris Kelly, and 4-2 was the final score. Jim Fahey is available. I'm not picking him up, and Mark Stride is back. Alright, we are November 30th, so we're going to click one more time, make it December 1st, so that we can stop here. No missed time for Carolina's Dvorak, so Radek Dvorak is not suspended. Nicholas Backstrom's assist streak ended at 9 games. He did score a goal against Carolina, but did not get an assist. Really? Ryan Miller was the goaltender of the month. We didn't play all that well. I mean, we have a winning record now, but we still struggled. And Jeff Carter is the other player of the month. So Jeff Carter and Ryan Miller, players of the month for the month of November 2007. Alright, so let's take a look at the standings. We are 9th, so we are within striking distance here. So we might put ourselves into contender status here, or put ourselves back into the lineup, the playoffs, sorry. And then if we look in the West, we have Edmonton, Detroit, Dallas, Nashville, Anaheim, Columbus, San Jose, and Chicago. So teams like the Colorado Avalanche are struggling. And the worst team in the league is the Tampa Bay Lightning with 3 measly wins in 25 games. Yikes. That is no bueno. No good. Alright, let's take a look at our stats here. Alright, so Joe Thornton kind of slowed down a little bit this month. We really didn't score many goals in November. We got shut out a few times, and a lot of times we scored only 1 or 2 goals. So he has 24 points in 24 games. Spezza is 24 in 24. Eliash 18 in 24. Datsuk 16. Then we have 10 points for Michael Ryder, and then it just starts dwindling down like really crazy. So we are missing really some offense from the back end here. I mean, our best are Meszaros and Strite with 5 points each, and Souris. So we don't have a defenseman that's getting points. So maybe that letting Brian McCabe go kind of hurt us. I mean, looking at it, the season he's having, maybe not. But we are definitely not getting offense from the back end. And I think that's probably why we're struggling so much. I'm expecting more from Mark Strite, for sure. But even Shara and Souris should be racking up a little bit more points than that, so it might be something that I need to address. I might need to go get a real quarterback or something. Now let's take a look at the entirety of the league here. So the best goal scorer is Jeff Carter with 20 goals already. And then Eatley has 19 and Ovechkin 18. Nicholas Backstrom is the best passer. He has 27 assists, and the most points is Jeff Carter with 38. It's really weird to not see my players in the top there. I'm used to it. You definitely can get used to winning a lot. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and save my game. And of course, next time that we do the video, it's gonna be the month of December 2007, and after that the calendar is gonna flip to 2008, and we're getting closer and closer to times that are closer to us. So we're getting to that point eventually. But anyway, so still not in a playoff spot. We definitely had a better month, but we're still struggling a little bit. So on my agenda is going to be to try to figure out getting some form of a quarterback. So I don't know who I'm going to go for. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get who I want. It's going to be a mixture of me looking at who is available and me trying to get a little creative, but I do need to address that we are not getting points from the back end, and it is a problem. So if you have any suggestions or any ideas, I am all ears. Well, technically I'm going to be all eyes because you're going to be posting that as a comment, so I'm going to be reading it, but I'm still open for suggestions. Alright, so that's it for today. I do want to thank you for tuning in as usual, and if you've liked the video, feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff, and until I roll this game again, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.